Well, hello everybody, and welcome to UFO Friday on this special day. I am so glad that you are here joining me and watching out on YouTube. So just in case that you're not familiar with UFO Friday, I usually do this once a month on certain days or certain select Fridays of the month because I travel a lot and I just can't be consistent on the exact day of the month. So it's always a Friday at 3 o'clock Eastern time, just not the same Friday every month. And what I do is I feature a product generally. And to give you a little backstory about that, I'm a national educator for Sulky and a brand ambassador for Clover. So they're two wonderful companies, right? Yay! We like nice threads and stabilizers and great notions. And so that's what I do. I teach you a little bit something about a notion or a spool of thread or a different stabilizer or a technique, and then that way you will learn something while you're here. Now, one of my rules that I have about UFO Friday is I don't allow sales pitches. So I don't do that myself, and I won't bring anybody else on here that's going to do something like that because I want this to be purely educational and free, no pressure. And so and afterwards, I'll provide you with some links. They're affiliate links if you want to use them. But I encourage you to support local stores. And I know a lot of times when I'm teaching in-person classes, I'll mention a notion and I see the students on their phones and they're trying to put the notions that I recommend in their shopping carts on Amazon. So that is A-okay. Afterwards, you will receive an email from me with a list of a lot of things that I talk about today and my affiliate links, okay? Just to let you know that'll be coming out. So, my name is Michelle Umlauf, and I'm very happy you are here. I am turning 29 again, and it's been pretty interesting. I always say that it snows around my birthday, and yesterday it snowed just a little bit here. So if you're getting snow, let me know. I want to see that in the comments. Let me know if you got some snow in your area. So from now on, if it ever snows around this time of the year, you can just call that the Michelle snow. So that's what I'm going to dub it officially. When I lived in Garrett County, Maryland, it's snowing in Michigan right now, and it's very windy in Ohio. Snow. Yeah, we're getting some snow. So that is from me. You're welcome. You're welcome. It wouldn't be my birthday if there wasn't snow somewhere. So that is amazing. So some of you are joining me for the first time because I did put some announcements out on Facebook in some smaller groups that I belong to, and I want to welcome you. Most of the people that follow me, I have met personally somewhere, or a few people have found me online, but not many. Usually most people we have met in some shape or form, either by an online class or an in-person class. I teach across the country. So a lot of people that are new probably live near me, and that's in Maryland. I advertised it to some groups that are near me, and I welcome you here. I teach at my local community college, Frederick Community College. A couple great classes there. I just scheduled them for July through December of later this year, so be on the lookout for that. So I see a lot of great comments on the Zoom side of the house. They were saying that they met me through a quilting summit last year. Yeah, so that one was online, and places are getting snow up in New York, and it's windy in Ohio. Yeah, sunny and 75 degrees in Texas. Lucky you, Karen. That's a very nice temperature for Texas. Not too hot, not too cold. And Secret says that snow is common in March here in Alaska. That is awesome. I can only imagine. So, well, great. Well, let's talk about a couple things that are going to go on today. So, I came up with my list early on, and then I was playing around with AI, and I said, hey, let's mix things up a little bit. Instead of me doing this in the order that I had written them down, I'm like, randomize it. So that's what AI did for me. And I think that makes it a little bit more fun because that's going to make, I haven't looked at the list. I don't know what order it's in. So that way it kind of challenges me a little bit to make sure that I'm on my toes and can do this for you. And the first question is, where is my favorite place to teach? And boy, I have like 3 answers for that. Boy, how do I decide which is my favorite? I have always been a big proponent of online education, and I started teaching online back in 2010. And as a result of that, I always been kind of ahead of the curve. And in 2014 or 2015, I proposed to Sulky. I'm like, hey, let's do an online webinar. And back then it was GoToWebinar. Do you remember those days? So they said to me, okay, we'll do 1, maybe 2, and we'll see how it goes. Well, after a while, I could not keep up with it because my career kind of blossomed. And it was it's a lot of work to go on behind the scenes, and Ellen March is doing a great job with that nowadays. That whole entire program is doing really well. So online would probably have to be my first choice with that. And I know a lot of people are kind of apprehensive about online classes, aren't you? Because you don't get that great experience. And some of those YouTubers don't do me any justice for that. I use multiple cameras, so maybe today you'll get a nice feel of how I teach online. So the next question is, what is my favorite thread? So I am a Sulky educator, and so I am very partial to Sulky, but that doesn't mean that they're the only thread in town. But my favorite thread is called Cotton Blendables. Let me grab you a couple spools of that so we can take a look at it. I'm not going to do a whole lot of education today, but kind of a little bit of an introduction. And that way, if there's something that interests you, I have code words written down, and I'll ask you, hey, if that's a topic you like, type that word into the comments section, and that will give me a great idea as to what you want to learn about. So I hear Debbie Vance loves Blendables. Yay, yes, Blendables are amazing. Whoops, there we go. We'll put you right there, Debbie. Thank you. Let's see, how do I get rid of that? There we go, I have to click it. I'm a one-person show, so it's hard for me to kind of keep up with these sometimes. So apparently this might be one of my go-to colors, right? This is the 12 weight, and this is the 12 weight, and this is the 30 weight, so they look a little different. And one of the unique thing about Sulky Cotton Blendables thread is that it has random color changes that occur every 2.5 to 5 inches. Okay, so on this one, you can't see it. On this one, it starts out blue, red, white. Okay, we're going to blue, red, white, blue, red, white, blue. Come on, I looked at you yesterday. White, red, blue, white, red, blue. So that's what we mean by the random color changes, is they change like that. So it's not that pattern like a variegated thread would give you, red, white, and blue, and have that stripe effect. But these color changes occur randomly, and what that means is that, whoops, I'm trying to move my screen here. There we go. I can move myself over a little bit. What that means is, like, the blue right here might be like 2 inches, but right here where it's red, it might be getting closer to about 3 inches right there. And then it's going to repeat in different increments ranging from 2.5 5 inches. So this section of blue right here is much longer. And that's what the beauty of this thread is. And what I find very interesting about the thread is that it kind of works with different colored fabrics. So for example, here we go again, I'm already starting. So with this thread right here, this is a cotton Blendables. You can see it's striped, but it's not predictably striped, right? And it will work with a green, you know, and it might work with a green that has a little bit of yellow in it. And it just depends what color you want to stand out in your quilting. That's a lot of something I hear from people all the time. I don't want people to see my work, but it's so pretty. Be proud of it. Yes, we want to see it. All right, so cross that off my list. Cotton Blendables thread is that one. Let me cross that off. Oh, the next one is my favorite iron. I get asked this quite often, and I tell people I do not put water in my iron. I find that I've had a lot of irons over the years, and that water, if you don't take it out consistently, it's just going to make a mess. I've had very good irons that just like to spit, and I have, other irons that, they would just leak or develop that buildup. The iron that I found that works really well with tap water is Laura Star. Now, I know that's a super expensive iron, but I have not wanted anything else other than that one. But it does have a really great steam on it. So that one will not let you down, that's for sure. But if you can't afford one of them, hey, I get it. But I like just a regular, inexpensive iron, like the ones that we use at the hotel. They work great. And what I will often do is put water in a squirt bottle and use that for my steam, and it works wonderful. But you're going to learn about another tool that I like to use instead of ironing. So I saw a question came through here, and it says, Susie asked, do you always put the thread back into the top slit? That's a good question, Susie. So Sulky's spools of thread have pop-up ends, and most of them are like that. Well, they all have a pop-up at one way or another, but you can see that this one's going to lift up a little bit. So that's where you can store your thread tails. And yes, it is an occupational hazard of mine. I will always, generally, if I'm not in a hurry, put my thread tails in there. I do that. I like that feature because I have a cat, and if they get a hold of my thread, I don't worry about it because it's all secure and I'm not going to have thread throughout the house. But yes, I usually do. That will drive me crazy in a heartbeat if my students don't put the thread back. All right, so we talked about the iron. That was the Laura Star, or just like a regular cheap iron in a squirt bottle works really great. So my favorite technique is the next question. Now, I brought a lot of stuff over here with me, so I'm going to have to find what I'm looking for. I can't lay it out in a way that makes it nice and easy. But my favorite technique is actually free motion sewing. So I'm going to show you a little something. This is probably one of the first things that I ever used. And now I'm going to go off the script because I'm going to tell you how I did the free motion sewing on this. Sulky has a product that's called Stick and Stitch, or it's called Sticky Solvy, and you can run that through your printer, okay? And so this particular class, this was from one of the teacher certification classes, we were able to print out like 4 sheets because this is like the size of a table topper. And they had lines on there that you could follow the stitching lines. And that's what I did with this. So that was my first introduction to doing the free motion. And I just really like it. I look at it as like doodling. So if you like to do free motion sewing, here's your cue. Type doodling into the chat there. And I'll know that that's something that you like. And so this particular one we did. Yeah, I thought I had a name on there, but that's just one of the samples that we have. That was fun. This was another way to do applique, and the pattern is actually a drunkard's path. Oh, I see some doodlings coming through. It's so fun. It's like drawing with your needle and thread. It's kind of like you let your hair down, so to speak. So free motion, and you're going to see something else a little later that has to do with free motion. I have to make a note here to myself. And my favorite needle that I like to use. So I gave a lot of thought to needles one day, and I was like, okay, so a lot of us learned how to sew from a relative, right? And it got to the point where whatever that relative used, they taught us, to use the same thing. And then somewhere along the line, the sewing industry started offering a lot of different options, right? So no longer could you just go into the store where the sewing needles were and find that same needle. Now you're faced with at least 20 different needles. So there's a lot of different choices, and I've been studying that as well. If you know Rhonda Pierce from Schmetz Needles, she does a fantastic class on needles. I'm working on one of my own because Sulky's a distributor of needles, the Oregon brand. But the one that I seem to use the most is a 9014 top stitch needle. And the reason I kind of like that one the best is because I like using the decorative threads. And oftentimes I'm going through something a little thicker. So it's a little bit larger of a needle and the eye of it's a little different. So you know what Rhonda told me about that 9014 top stitch needle? That needle is the same as a embroidery needle. It's kind of similar to that one, but also a metallic needle. And the reason they gave them different names was so that it makes it easier for you to pick out the needle for what you're doing. So you think, oh, I'm working with metallic threads, I need a metallic needle, right? That makes sense. And sure, grab that metallic needle, but it's the same as the top stitch needle. So that's why I kind of narrowed it down to that top stitch needle. So let's cross that one off the list. Does anybody have a favorite needle that's kind of like your go-to, that it seems like you sew with that one the most? Let's see it. Drop that in the comments, and I'd like to hear about that while I'm pulling up my other item. All right, so I'm working on this. Oops. I'm working on a deep dive, if you will, and I rummaged through all of my Clover stuff, and this is full of different